Hello, it's been a while and I keep being asked for an update, so here's that. So I wanted to address some shamanic concepts, including surrender and flow, while telling you a little bit about my life story. So, if you haven't met me yet, my name is Kat Rambo. I'm a practicing medicine woman, herbalist, healer, and I like to share on this channel how to live through those concepts. So, surrender is a concept as understood, especially in medicine work, to refer to the process of letting go of control and moving with the flow of life. Much easier said than done, especially in our culture, we prioritize control. So, what does that mean? We want to be in control of our surroundings, in control of the behavior of partners, friends, and family. We want to be in control of our emotions. We want to be in control of our life path, of our destiny. And yet, so many of these things really are not best served in our control. And there are so many places in life where being out of control is actually the most fun. So, in my life, I recently went through another joyful identity crisis. This is what entitles me to teach transformation and change, is going through it all the time. And I went through a very deep process of feeling like the things that I have wanted and worked towards in my life really weren't panning out in the way that I wanted. So I asked myself, what am I doing wrong? What's wrong with me? Is there something that's not right in the way I'm doing things, or is there something inherently wrong with me? I reevaluated all of my belief systems around faith and manifestation and dignity and honor and work ethics and even if I'm in the right line of work, I mean everything. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Right? And when we start asking questions like that, it can really throw us for a loop, because the truth is, we don't ever really know the answer. Because as soon as we do, it changes. But it's supposed to. That's called evolution. We're supposed to be growing all the time. So it's normal, natural, and positive to periodically reevaluate. What do we want? Who do we think we are? How do we show up in the world? Who are we to others around us? Who are others for us? And to decide to make conscious choices there rather than just allow what it is that comes in to simply occur, because sometimes what comes in is an opportunity to choose something else, right? But at what point does that become a fixation on control? Right. So control is when we decide we need to have an attachment to a specific outcome or a specific way of doing or being things, or that others need to comply to our expectations, or that life outcome does. So, for example, I had spent years pining to return to Mexico. I ended up returning to the US and committing myself for a short visit that turned into a very long visit, and committed myself to my family, because it seemed that the people around me really needed me at that time. So I was grateful that I did get to do that. And also, I started to feel like I wasn't really living my life for me anymore. So I decided to make a change. I moved back to Mexico. But it didn't really go the way I wanted it to, and it hadn't really been what I thought it would have been. And we went back to the same place, but of course, everything had changed because we had changed, both my partner and I, and the environment had changed for many reasons. So I was looking at that situation thinking, well, how do we redress this? Like, what do I change? What do I do differently in myself, in my environment, in my work, to make life the way I really want it? And, it was clear that my partner wasn't very happy where we were with the circumstances that had changed. So, um, of course, we pray for clarity, and it always comes. So, we were offered an opportunity to work with someone with whom we have great rapport and affection, an old teacher, the maestra. She came, her madrina is like a godmother, right? A spiritual teacher for her from a long time ago. And I have a great love for this bruja, and she thought it would be very nice if we opened up something together here in Florida. And I was very resistant to the idea. My goal was to live in Mexico. I really love it there, and it's something I've wanted since I was young. So I didn't like the idea because I didn't want to be in Florida. I wanted to be in Mexico, and opening a shop means being at the shop, right? So I was opposed to the idea because I really prefer travel and I want to live abroad. So my first reaction, of course, was to dig in my heels as usual and say no. And then I felt myself soften up a little bit and say, okay, well, maybe it would really be determined by the location. If the location feels really good, then I might say yes to considering it, right? If it feels fun. So out of nowhere, the topic of conversation had changed, and I think it was my partner actually, Annie, had said, "What about St. Augustine in Florida? A beautiful place to go. A lot of spirituality, really exciting. A lot of history. It's an oldest city landmark. There's a fort there, a Spanish fort. It's very fun if you have never been to St. Augustine, Florida. It's popular for things like haunted hotels and ghost stories, and it's a lot of good time. So I thought, okay, well, that felt like this wash of yes over my system, and I thought, okay, well, this is beautiful. Let's follow this inspiration. So I said, okay, yes, and everyone looked at me and said, what? You've been digging in your heels and saying no for 2 years, a year and a half, and now it's suddenly a yes because St. Augustine? And I said, yeah, I told you the location would change my mind. And then I started to do some research and realized that it really wasn't particularly feasible for us at that time for a number of reasons. And so then I started to question, well, if spirit gave me, and it was clear to me, it was a spirit answer, a yes, an intuitive yes in the moment that seemed so strong, I felt it wash over my whole body, then why is it that it appears a no? Does that mean take a leap? Or is it that the intuitive yes was really an opening, to make space for something else, and to stop being so stubborn, because I can be stubborn. And I wasn't sure yet, and I didn't want to overthink it too much. Also, one of my finer qualities. So we decided, well, what the hell? Let's just take a leap. So we returned to Mexico and moved out of our casita very quickly, within a week, and spent some time in between. Since it was the holidays, we got to be with family, and when we reconvened, I went to be with my family in New Orleans and Louisiana, and the maestra was in Mexico, and then back in Florida with the kids and the family, and a sister, which is wonderful. And we reconvened. We shared beautiful work, a lot of learning with one another. We really hadn't spent so much time apart, so it was a few weeks is a long time when you live and work and play together. And so it was really interesting to come together and decide to reinvent and renew our relationship in a new way. And what does that look like? And to sort of flow around each other in a different kind of way, a new dynamic, and to invite in that consciously, which was cool. And then we determined that it was time to go home, right? So what does that mean? Just some time prior, sister decided we've been needing to go back to Chile for a long time. Because of some family stuff. So grandma's getting old, right? That's where Anita and her sister Susie are from. So Susie said, plane tickets are cheap. I bought them. So we said, okay, yes, right? To whatever seemed in flow. It was time to go, so let's go. So blessings to my sister-in-law for just jumping on the let's do it right now spontaneity and just buying plane tickets. We're going. We're taking the kids. It's going to be a great time. But Anita and I decided, well, why don't we just stay there? Because if we've moved out of Mexico and we have no need to be in Florida yet, then let's be with family. Let's pursue creative projects. And as the preparation process for this trip has unfolded, so many amazing opportunities and inspirations have come in that space. So it's definitely a re-education in making space for what you really want. So it's come up for the maestra to begin making music, in a really conscious way. I say the word conscious, I mean intentional way. She always makes music for ceremony and in her life and for her work, but maybe music just for the joy of the music itself. Of course, it'll be medicine music because she has such strong medicine, but maybe just music for the love of the music itself. And I thought, wonderful. I can be her first and biggest groupie. And at the same time, while she's pursuing her passions, I can finish my books. And so now it's starting to look like a trip of parallel inspiration and creative endeavor. And I see and I feel the inspiration for Susie, sister-in-law, and for the kids. And I'm really excited about that. And so for me, I've been learning a lot. And what I would love to share from this story is just the pursuit of passion. And sometimes it feels absolutely crazy. And that's okay. What are we doing? Where do we live? I don't know. Earth right now is my home, right? And not even always that. But isn't that good enough sometimes? Isn't it worth it to say yes to a powerful transformation? And I know that life crisis is a keystone in even my coaching practice and in my my work in shamanic practices and ceremonial and ritual work. But what I've discovered is a revisiting of the depth of that, of what surrender really means, and the big throw the hands up and say, F it, I'm just gonna go with the flow, and whatever comes, comes. And I've realized I've gone through this a few times in my life, and every time I give up to the flow of life and say, I'm tired of swimming upriver, salmon just gets eaten by the bear anyway, to swim so far. Maybe it's better just to go with the flow and see what happens. And on occasion, this really is the best way to pursue something unexpected. What does life have in store? And I definitely feel that unexpected energy. And then my beautiful friend Sandra, if you like numerology, she is a genius. She does charts and readings. It's incredible. Send me a message if you want her info. She told me, this is a year of unexpected things for you, pitfalls and also inspiration and opportunities. I said, I know, I feel it. I've committed to this year of really surrendering to the flow of process. And I feel like there's authenticity in that. I'm not trying to figure out what I want to do. I'm not trying to figure out where I want to go. I'm just figuring out all over again and redefining who do I want to be and how do I want to live, and everything else is going to be an extension of that. And that is a lot of authenticity, and it is a little unnerving to let go of the reins and just let the horse go wherever. But what if it does bring to greener pastures, right? And that is faith. And so I had a dream. I know it's all in such good alignment. I had a dream the other night, and I always trust in my dreams. This is why dream work is such a cornerstone of my practice. That in the dream, we stayed in Chile a lot longer than I thought. And then a day or two later, my partner told me, well, I don't want to leave until I finish an album, and I found a recording studio. What a blessing. And I told her, yeah, I think we will stay longer. And what a sweet thing to make the goal of your experience the experience itself, right? It is easy to say, like, the goal is the journey, right? It's not to get somewhere, it's to be in the process. And I really feel like renewing the commitment to that idea now. And I'm really excited to share that journey with you. And in fact, so much so, and so much inspiration, that my partner and I have finally come around to starting the lifestyle channel that we've been talking about for years, which is all about just living a life as shamans in the modern world. And, we don't live in the jungle. I have cell phones and a computer where I write my books, to publish on Amazon, you know what I mean? So how is it to be an old school shamanic practitioner living a life in the modern world? And what is that like? So our first videos are going to be about what does a shaman pack in their suitcase? Come pack with me, get ready with me. And so we're going to be making videos. We're going to be renewing our excitement about sharing our life. And we get asked so many questions all the time. And I never thought of our life as, I think we have a good time, as interesting to others. It's interesting to me. But I feel like in the same way that we serve medicine, which means it doesn't mean we give it. It means we live for it. And it's these practices that choose our path more than the path that determines the practice, right? So in this case, the ask is for the sharing. So the medicine here is going to be about love, about giving, about sharing, about being open and vulnerable about our journeys and what's happening and where we're going. And so I wanted to leave this little update and discuss that concept, of surrender. So I wanted to pose a question, if you've made it this far in this long video. What to you defines surrender? Have you ever had a moment in your life where you feel in full commitment to the flow of life without any attachments or expectations or judgments about it, and just moving with it? And what happened? I feel like for me, when I've been in these moments, they have been usually precipitated by a moment of struggle, feeling like things are being taken away, like something I wanted is like not available for me for some reason, and I don't have access to what I really want, what I've been working for. And then I give up, I get frustrated, I get heartbroken. And then I realize, oh, this is that moment. So how do you know when it's time to choose surrender or it's time to choose effort, like massive effort? And how do you balance that? Have you ever had an experience where you're trying to balance going with the flow, but also taking aligned action? Because I think that's an often forgotten part of the equation is aligned action. God may open many doors, but it is up to us to walk through them. So, what kind of aligned actions have you taken in your life? And how do you exercise this concept of surrender? And did you ever find that when you made that decision, did you find it reinforced somehow by your life experience? Or did you find that it was just more struggle? What happened? I would love to know about your relationship with this word surrender and what that means to you. So please leave me some comments. I always go back and write them and read them and respond to them. I love interacting. And so we're going to be back on the Facebook group and showing up and talking about whatever you want. And so if you have a request for any types of video, then I would love to share with you. And I'll even leave a link to our new YouTube channel together, which is, I think it's called Real Life Shamans, which is sort of like a spinoff of like a reality TV. I don't really know about lifestyle stuff, so you got to tell me what it is that you want. What is it that you like? What do you want to know? What do you want to see? And that's what I would love to share with you. So we're in this really wonderful space of openness about our process, even though at times it is difficult for us. And so a lot of times in a position of leadership and, I operate as a sort of a priest. So, at some point, I really have to be my best self and always show up, for the work that I honor with my way of being and express what I have learned in my teaching and in classes and all of this. But at some point also, that means going through it, and being in the process too. And I realize there's tremendous value in sharing that too. So we're going to share with you, and I'm going to share with you the journey, the inside of the journey, not just the end state of the journey, not the beautiful outcome, but the 1,000 steps that it took to get to the instant success. You know what I mean? So there's always a long journey, and I really feel now the value of really sharing that. So if there's something that you want to know about our Lifeway, then I would love to share that with you. Please leave me a comment and let me know. And I love you very much. It's a very long video, so I'm going to go because we are flying out very early in the morning. So in some hours, I'll be getting on a plane for an international adventure of a lifetime. And I really look forward to sharing some of that with you. So I hope you have a beautiful time wherever you are. Sending lots and lots of love always, many blessings. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.